Welcome back again to Moviesome. There will be 456 people playing a series of games in order to become billionaires, but they have no idea that these are death games, and that over the course of 9 episodes, a lot of people are going to die in a variety of ways. So we're going to review Squid Game Episode 1. We start by seeing some kids playing a game called the Squid. The name comes from the fact that it's played inside a squid-like form, and the rules are simple. There are 2 groups, the offense and the defense, and if an attacker cuts through the waist of the squid passing the defense, then they are giving freedom to use both feet, and in the final battle, in order to win, the attackers must tap the small closed-off space on the squid's head with their foot, but if someone on the fence manages to push you outside of the squid boundaries, you die. Anyway, here is the story of Song John, a man who, despite his age, still lives with his mother. And apparently forgot it was his daughter's birthday that same day, so she gives him some money to take her out to dinner. But the guy asks his mother for more money to buy her a present, so she gives him more money and leaves, and on top of that, John tells her that she keeps complaining about her back hurting, but she does nothing about it. After that, he steals her credit card, and after some wrong tries, he enters his daughter's birthday, and so now he can finally steal money from his poor mom. He uses that money to bet on a horse race and loses, and clearly by this time our character isn't looking too great. And after that, he bets on some other horse, and in the long run he wins a number of cash. There he calls his daughter, tells her to select what she desires to devour for her birthday, and says he is gonna select out her up. However, then a few men to whom he owes cash display up, so he begins off evolve to run, and on the manner he hits a woman. After that the men attain him, and he tells him that he has the cash, while he is approximately to pay them. He realizes that the women still eat the entirety he received with inside the wager. Then he thinks they may be gonna kill him. He begins off evolved crying, and says he is gonna pay them. However, the most effective alternative they supply him is that, if he does not pay next month, they may take out a kidney, and one in all his eyes, so he signs the waiver of his bodily rights. And they inform him he has 1 month to pay them. And before they leave he asks for more money. After that, with that cash rather of purchasing something, he is going to a claw machine, and he loses quite a few cash, till a child shows up, who seems brilliant at gambling, and is full of filled animals, and as opposed to giving him one, he enables him to take out a box, despite the fact that they do not know what is inside. Later, he is going to look for his daughter, and tells her that the marks on his face are due to the fact he was bitten by a mosquito. There she tells him that she went to eat meat with her mom and stepfather, despite the fact that she likes junk food much more. At one point, he tells her that he bought her a gift for her birthday, and whilst they open it, it is a gun, and there he was thinking what a gun was doing inside a claw machine. However, it is actually a lighter, in the form of a gun, and for the reason that her mom might not just like the present, he is gonna keep it for when she grows up, and sooner or later, after lying to her a couple more times, telling her that he is gonna stop smoking, and that next time he is gonna provide her a better gift, he takes her home where he is received by his ex-wife, who scolds him due to the fact they were late. After that he is going to catch the train, however he is late and can't catch it, so while he is waiting for the next, one man with a briefcase appears, and sits down next to him. There he asks him if he has a minute. He offers to play a game with him, opens a briefcase and shows him 2 envelopes, and a lot of cash at that second. He gives him to play this game referred to as jockey, and every time he turns over his die jockey he'll give him 100,000 won, but if he loses he will have to give it to him. There our protagonist tells him that if it is a scam he is gonna kill him. But without thinking too much he starts playing. The guy in the suit wins the first time, and then he realizes that guy doesn't have enough money to pay him, so he slaps him, and so they keep playing a bunch of times, but every time our character loses, and he slaps him a lot. Our character sucks at all games. Finally wins once, and the guy gives him 100,000 won. Once the game is finished he won a lot of money, and now the guy in the suit talks to him about a lot of games, to keep winning more money. There we understand that the guy knows his name, and a lot of data about him, like that he gave up his physical rights, and that he owes 160 million to lenders and 265 million to the bank, and after that he says that there are not many places left, and gives him a card with a phone number to call if he agrees to participate. After that the guy goes to buy fish. Super happy, because he has a lot of money, and there we meet this lady who's the mother of Cho Sang-woo, a friend of our protagonist, who apparently is super successful, and is on a business trip. Before returning home he sees a cat and gives it a piece of fish that he bought. Then he gives some money to his mother, and she asks him if he won it by gambling, but he says no and that he worked hard to earn all that money. Then his mother asks him if he took his daughter out to dinner, and asks him if she didn't tell him something important. Because apparently his daughter, her mother, and her new boyfriend are going to live in the United States next year because her stepfather got a job there. His mother tells him to fight for her and go get his daughter back, because apparently if the father can prove that he can financially support his child, the child will be returned to him. Then our protagonist starts searching at images of his daughter, and comes to a decision to call the phone number that was given to him. Then he's requested to tell his name and date of birth, and if he wants to play, and after that, a van comes to pick him up. The password is red light, green light, and pronouncing that they open the door of the van, in which there are a number of people sleeping, a gas is activated, and rather than worrying about being kidnapped, and trying to break the glass or seeking to get out of the van, he remains still and he falls asleep. When he wakes up, he's in a bed with a group of other people in a huge shed. There he has the number 456 on his uniform, and it appears that there are a bunch of people controlling a lot of cameras, with the leader wearing this weird mask. When everyone wakes up, our character comes across a man who is counting all the people in the place, so there he tells him that there are 456 people, and we realize that the old man was the first to arrive, and he was the last, and when our protagonist asks him why he's there, the man tells him that his days are numbered because he has a tumor inside his head. Meanwhile, in the middle of the crowd, there's this gangster with the number 101 beating up a woman because he taught her a lot of things, but she betrayed him. They keep fighting for a while, and no one shows up to separate them. Actually, that's when our character shows up, because he realizes she's the pickpocket who robbed him at the beginning of the episode, and he wants his money back. Up here, a group of red-clad guards greet them, and tell them that they'll be participating in 6 games, over the course of 6 days, with the winners receiving a large prize. There are a few who begin to question whether all of these games are truly true, but one of the guards informs them that everyone there is in debt, and that since they received the money the first time they played, they will receive it again. And they also warn them that they will not reveal which games they will play, so that no one has an advantage, and that the prize money would be accumulated after each game. Then everyone signs a form with 3 rules: no one can stop playing, anybody who refuses to participate will be removed, and they can finish playing if the majority agrees. So our character signs and they're all set to begin the first game. So they go through a room and take them a photo. This strange guy is kind of stupid, and our protagonist also makes a kind of strange face, and then they start walking to the first game, after going through some stairs that I don't really understand the point of, and in the meantime, the leader who controls everything goes into an elevator that we don't know where. And now, yes, all of the players have arrived to the site of the first game. At that time, Gyeon sees his pal Sang-woo, who, despite his mother's claim that he was on a business trip in one of the previous scene, he still refuses to say what he's doing in there. And he says he'll contact him later. Then the boss gets a call saying that all the preparations are complete and the first game can begin, so he sits down, and the first game in the series begins, with a talking doll saying that the first game is named Red Light Green Light. You can go forward while the green light is on, but if you move after that, you'll be eliminated, and they only have 5 minutes to reach to the other side. So the game begins, and the 2 idiots in the photographs bet 1 million won on who would finish first. However, as the doll turns around, a noise is heard, and he falls to the floor. No one noticed that the noise was a gunshot, and I'm not sure why they thought he fell for some other cause. So everyone keeps playing the doll, and his friend approaches the dead man, but as he attempts to talk to him, he sees him spewing blood, and it kills the other one, and everyone learns that people who are eliminated are genuinely murdered. They all begin to panic, and keep a careful eye on the kill count, since a large number of people are about to die. Meanwhile, the leader is quietly watching the game on TV, while drinking whiskey, and many people have died by this time, but our protagonist is still alive. The doll continues to sing, and the only one who moves forward is the old man who is really enjoying the game. But the rest are a little surprised and don't move until they finally do, and people continue to die there. His friend Sang-woo tells Jae-yeon that if he stays lying down, he'll die, and that he should hide behind someone because the doll has motion sensors and won't notice if he moves. However, our protagonist ignores this and remains seated while other secondary characters die. Finally, he gets up and starts running, and we discover that the only one who's still alive is the gangster with the tattoo, while the rest of them keep dying. The girl tries to push the gangster to death at one point, but he instructs her not to, and I'm not sure why she obeys him and doesn't murder him, instead pulling him back as the doll turns. Our protagonist can't walk because someone grabs his foot, but there's no time to aid anyone, so he simply keeps going, and the person dies, and while the leader listens to jazz, he quietly watches as a lot of innocent people die on television. At one point, a group of people begin to approach the finish line, but our protagonist steps on a corpse and nearly falls down, but he is saved by a stranger named Ali, and another person dies instead. The doll then turns again, and our protagonist and his new friend arrive with only 1 second left, and the rest of them die. In episode 2, we see that only 201 individuals survived the first game. In addition to the ones that died on camera, there were many more who died but were only heard by gunfire. In total, 255 people died in the first game, while the rest survived. And there we see how the roof closes, which must have cost them a fortune because it's a pretty big roof, and there we learned that all these games happen on an island in the middle of nowhere. So that was Squid Game episode 1.